Hi, Katrina. Thanks very much for being with us this morning. And as you know, I've got 3 questions for you today. So I'll start with the first one, which is, what do you like about your work?
What I like about my work now, and actually throughout my career, has been the people, the variety of what I get to do, and the tasks and the different parts of the business I see, because my job at the moment is a chief legal officer, so I work with all of the business. So that's a great thing I like about it. And one of the things about being in an in-house legal team is that you're one of the few parts of an organization that sees all of the business and all of the departments. So there's an umbrella function that is really
so you get to interact with everybody.
Yeah, and actually put 2 and 2 together. So often people are working really hard on their part of the business or their project, whatever it is, and not seeing the bigger picture. So that's a great thing about being a senior in the legal team. You do get to see everything.
Yeah, fantastic. And next question I've got for you is, how did you start out?
My first job after university was working for a judge. I qualified in Australia, and in Australia we have a system where not many people, but some people can work with a judge, like in America they call it a clerkship, but in Australia it works as an associate. So for a year you work with the judge, helping with the judgments, but that's what we think we were doing. Really. And just working in the court system, which was really interesting for me, and the judge I worked with was a Lord Denning type character.
Okay.
So he looked at what was the result that would be fair and delivered justice. He worked around how he write a judgment or look at the facts and circumstances in a way that would be fair. So he was a really, really inspiring and wonderful man. And so I learned not what I thought I'd learned. I thought I'd learned esoteric points of law, and I did have to help with a bit of that, but I learned much more about how the world works and how the court system works and how important it is to have integrity and follow through. And I admire him to this day.
Yeah, so it sounds like a little bit of an access all areas kind of pass at a very early age.
Yeah, and it was an appellate court, so we didn't see, it was when people were going up to the last resort sometimes. Yeah, it was really, it was quite an eye-opener.
Yeah. And what did that lead to you doing after that?
I went into private practice, and at the time, it's a bit like now. The labour market was pretty hard. It wasn't. There weren't a lot of jobs around. So I was very lucky to find that job, and then went into a law firm and not in the traditional way where I started with everyone else at the same time, but it ended up being the same time. So I worked in the IP and defamation teams in a law firm in Sydney, and which I really enjoyed. And I'm basically an IP lawyer who's moved into media and technology.
Okay.
So that's the grounding I had, but moving into, I guess, more industry focused areas.
Yeah, fantastic. And the last question I've got for you this morning, Katrina, is, what would you say to someone starting out today?
People starting out today, it is a really different world, and so many of them will have different careers and different roles, and that's really exciting and interesting, I think. So I would say follow what you're really interested in, find and make the most of where you find, because we're not all going to find the perfect job on day one. And what I've found is, actually, I've done some interim work, and I would go to a job or an organization where you probably wouldn't think of going to permanently initially, but actually all are fantastic, and I really learned a lot. and learn more about the organisations, thinking, I would have stayed here permanently, even though I didn't know much about it at the beginning. So they just have an open mind.
Yeah.
People
don't let perfect get in the way of good enough.
Yeah, totally don't. And that's a hard lesson for lawyers and engineers and people like that, because we're trained in a different way, but it's a really important lesson, I think. Don't let perfect get in the way of a great experience, I would say.
Yeah, fantastic.